Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with Pacific Nut Producer Magazine, reporting to you from the annual Grape, Nut, and Tree Fruit Expo at the Big Fresno Fairgrounds. It's been a wonderful day. Lots of growers, PCAs, and attendants and industry stakeholders here. One of our favorite presentations here was our State of the Almond Industry with Richard Waycott, President of the Almond Board of California, but not for long. We understand that you're going to be transitioning out of that role. You've served in that position for 20 plus years, right?
21 years.
21 years. And we really appreciate all the great work that you've done. So first, tell us about your State of the Industry report. What are some of the highlights that growers should know about almonds? Almond shipments are up, right?
Yeah, so we've had some shifts in the industry, obviously tremendous shifts over the last few years. Sort of starting with the more macro things that are largely out of control of the industry. Some of those things haven't improved with the sort of pace that we wanted them to, but certain ones have. And I can point out, obviously, the logistical debacle that we had to live through for a couple of years of not being able to find ships or containers with freight rates skyrocketing, et cetera. That has largely returned to normal, or certainly much, much better. Also, our shipments this year in the first quarter, exports are up almost 8% over last year in the first 3 months of the year. Domestic's about flat with last year. We hope that improves. But we are seeing some lift, and hopefully that will transition into the coming months and help sort of chip away at the larger than normal carry-in we had of last year's crop inventory into this year.
And then we understand that Turkey recently slapped on some tariffs for almonds. And I'm wondering, how that may impact the California almond industry in the coming months. Tell us how much we might rely on exports to Turkey. I know we export all over the world, but tell us about it.
We do. So Turkey is an important market. It's not one of our top 10, but it's certainly an important market for various reasons, not only for domestic consumption within Turkey, a large country, but also it serves as a conduit through to other countries in the region. The tariff increase you mentioned takes us to 15% from 2%, which is not a great thing. Some of that won't be applied if shipments to Turkey do transition through the country to, and out of the country. So like it would in our country, it would be an in-bond sort of a situation where duties wouldn't have to be paid because it's not being nationalized within the country. But those nuts that will have a higher cost to the Turkish consumer. And we're very much in touch with the trade authorities in Washington, D.C. and our congressional representatives to try and work with the Turkish government to roll these things back. There are certain times in certain countries where the government takes these types of measures for popular reasons. That happened with us with the retaliatory tariffs back in the day. Right. Some of those are still in effect, including in Turkey. So we have to go with the ebb and flow. I would say the great advantage that we have as an industry is our diversification in terms of all the markets we serve around the country, around the world, so that when we have something like this occur, as you're saying in Turkey, we obviously have a lot of other markets that we can service, and the overall impact of that we still don't understand yet because it's just going into effect, but hopefully it won't be very substantial.
Right. Well, thank you for your update today. I wanted to just give you a shout out here because we really appreciate your service to the industry for so many years. It makes me sad to think that this is your last State of the Almond Industry address at the Grape, Nut, and Tree Fruit Expo. You've been here year after year, and we've worked with you through Pacific Nut Producer Magazine. Really do look forward to celebrating your work with the Almond Board and the industry at the coming Almond Conference, right? When is that taking place?
Yeah, so we have the annual Almond Conference taking place in Sacramento at the Safe Credit Convention Center, December 5th through the 7th. So be sure to go online, almonds.com/conference, and you can find out all the details. But it's going to be tremendous. Expecting a really big turnout. Great exhibit hall, as usual, and just lots of interesting topics we'll be covering. And just thank you, Matthew, and your family's company for all the great conversations and coverage we've had. I think when I began in the almond business 21 years ago, Matthew was probably in grammar school or something like that. So he's come a long way, and so have I. But it's really been great working together, and obviously I know this comes from both of us that we're just so appreciative for the tree nut industry in California, and in my case, very especially for the growers and processors of almonds. So it's been wonderful.
Well, thank you, Richard. We look forward to seeing you at an Almond Conference. Thanks again for today at the Grape, Nut, and Tree Fruit Expo. Read more about these things in Pacific Nut Producer Magazine. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.